My name is Jeremy Walsh. I'm the Industrial Automation Software and Control Manager for Shadler Yezco. I've been with the company 6.5 years. I'm based out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Prior to that, I was with a couple different engineering organizations, did engineering and maintenance management, did some cool engineering stuff as a young guy, got my feet wet early, so it was pretty good. We're going to start off today with a little bit of the why behind this conversation and some of what we've seen and talked with customers about recently, and hopefully we're going to demystify some things. We're going to talk about the cloud a little bit, what cybersecurity really means, and then how do we move forward and be successful with some of that integration outside of your facilities and what some of that looks like in the field. Can everyone hear me? I can hear myself too, so it sounds like I'm in like a tube. I'm gonna beat on the audio guys later. So, why are we talking about cloud and cybersecurity? It really, what we get overwhelming response back around is the fear of the cloud and the fear of not being able to be secure. The fact that once you go into the cloud, you can't get back out. You're always stuck there. That's the solution that you have to live with. The security behind it, like we talked about, accessibility of data, the cost of making a transition effectively into the cloud. And, of course, for all the IT, if you're in IT, raise your hand. Ooh, okay. So loss of control of data, that's a big. And then planning, right? So what do we really need to do with our IT infrastructure, with our OT infrastructure to implement into the cloud, the definition of the strategy and focusing on that. And I'll give you guys some quick stats. 66% of industry embraces the cloud technology today. So whether you know that your company is doing it, most likely someone within your organization is using some form of cloud today. And how do we expand and broaden that scope? 78% of those do not capture the full value of being cloud integrated, right? And we're going to get into a little more of what cloud really means here in a bit, but 65% of those companies ID'd security risk and compliance risk. 43% of those companies ID'd legacy infrastructure that hinders them from introducing technology into the cloud on those solutions. And then adoption, we're going to be talking a little bit more about resiliency, performance, what it means to be secure in the cloud, and then total cost of ownership and how cloud-based solutions can really drive reduction in costs of your control solutions. So again, number one, number two. Number one thing we hear is fear. Number two, we don't know how to plan for it. We don't know how to move forward with it. So what is the cloud? The cloud is a lot of things. It's not a definable term really, although I'm going to give you one. There's lots of different things that encompass cloud infrastructure, right? So we have SaaS, software as a service. I like to relate these things to like simple stuff that I know. So Netflix, right? Netflix is software as a service. Infrastructure as a service. Everybody know what an Xbox is, Damon? Yeah. So Xbox, not directly, but indirectly, is using infrastructure as a service to be able to provide their users with a better experience using cloud-based infrastructure to provide gaming and visualization to their customers. Platform as a service, everyone have a Dropbox? Paid version of Dropbox maybe? Yeah, man, I hate that bill. But, and then functions as a service. So this is probably the most unrelatable. It's newer technology to the market, but AWS Lambda, the principle behind functions as a service is that you develop code that runs on a queue and is not constantly running and is variable compliant. So depending on what's happening in your facility, triggers what code runs. That's something to look into a little more. They give me like 10 minutes, so I can't get into it super big. But really what has happened, I love this because I relate to this side of the page. But over time, the cloud has jumped. So most of us will remember on-prem bare metal as computers tied to nothing, or hardware devices to on-prem virtualization, to then that service provider hosting, cloud computing, and now we've moved into hybrid computing. And just to develop some terms around that, I wanted to talk a little bit about that hybrid computation and make sure everybody understands I'm not talking about something crazy. It's the convergence of the public and private cloud to create a hybrid solution, which is going to provide the most value because you're tailoring your solution based off of both of those cloud infrastructures to provide the best thing for your plant. I'll skip that. So what's the benefits of cloud adoption? So we're dealing down this cloud adoption or cloud infrastructure just to kind of frame up the two things we're talking about here. So benefits of cloud adoption, right? All those things around the outside of the board, they've been proven over and over again. You look at CISA, so cybersecurity infrastructure. You look at any of the big dogs in the industry doing data analytics, they're all going to tell you that cloud-based solutions have been proven over time and time again to be more reliable, more effective, more cost-effective for owners, plant owners, to implement over on-prem, the grill on the left solutions. So back to some basics, right? So I'm a simple man. From CISA, cybersecurity is the art of protecting networks, devices, and data from unauthorized access or criminal use, and the practice of ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That's a mouthful, right? So what I want you to actually see is two words: art and practice. That's the two keys. So cybersecurity is an art. No two examples are the same, and no paths to get there were ever the same. And a practice. Cybersecurity takes practice. The battle of good and evil is won by the soldiers with the most training experience. That's a quote from somebody very famous, but I didn't quote him. But really what I'm getting at is cybersecurity is very unique. It always changes. You have to be on a dime with it. And the best practice, the best information, the most secure individuals are the ones that are living it, they're owning it, they're embellishing it, and really, really embracing the cybersecurity venture. The idea is the whole world is affected by cybersecurity, and most of the time, what gets us is what we don't see and what we don't know about, right? So it's very important that we embrace the infrastructure and we embrace the technologies and help them help us see what we don't know and don't see. So we've talked a little bit about the cloud and why we want to jump into the cloud. We talked a little bit about cybersecurity and how it's very unknown, how it's ever changing. And so now I want to bring it to, what's the path forward? So this is really kind of what it looks like. The very first thing that we're recommending for customers to do is be educated. Jump on these webinars. Rockwell has thousands and thousands of webinars and content available to you, technology, industry strategy, partners. And then the next thing is assess. So if you're going to make change to anything, you want to know what you have, what your baseline is, right? If you go to the doctor after 5 or 6 years of not being there, most likely the first thing they're going to do is say, we're going to take blood, right? We're going to get your baseline of all your metabolics, and we're going to see where to start from there. So we're talking about really the assessment is taking the blood of your facility, of your plant. Hardware, software, the architecture that you built those around, the abilities and capabilities of your teams, right? So some things are out of grasp just because we don't have the technical talent, we don't have the resources to do certain things. And so assessing and planning is really based on where you're living in your facility. And then again, I used that word already, but the plan. So you've got to start somewhere. You assess, you know your baseline, you plan. When you plan, it should be a collaborative effort, not only across all of your different departments within your organization, but also with the partners that you decide that you're going to utilize to get those plans rolling, right? So it's desired outcome. Who's going to do it? How are they going to do it? Why are they going to do it? What are the KPIs? What are you looking to get? And then the preparation for it is also very important. So relying on the technology. If you're going to embrace it and you're going to plan for it, implement it and try it, see what it does. Development looks very different with these types of solutions. This is not putting an OEM piece of equipment in a plant. It takes a ton of different resources looking at the ball from every angle to really make these things successful, which is cloud infrastructure. And then building out your bench. So most of the time, we're not going to be able to do this by ourselves. We're not going to be able to do this single-handedly. The key, the secret to the sauce is building out an ecosystem and a partner network that can help you do these things effectively. And that's how you get your data adoption and your cloud infrastructure secure, is working with teams of people who are best in class at doing that thing that they do, combining all those together to create that solution that you're really looking for in your facilities. That migration, I coined this term from a Rockwell guy, break a pencil. Don't be afraid to try something. If you've done everything on the left-hand side that I've already talked about, there's really no reason not to implement. Try it, work it out, see how it phases in, review it for safeguarding, obviously, of course, and set the expectations for what that rollout's going to look like, and then review. So the worst thing that we can do is assume that an implementation is going to be one and done, because it will always change and evolve. So the best thing that we can do is, in safeguarding and creating a healthier facility, is to go back and review it and say, did it work? And review your KPIs, review what you expected it to do. And if it doesn't do those things, rinse and repeat, right? Go back, maybe all the way back to educate. And maybe at times we have to do that just because technology in our industry evolves. But go back and find a position and then work through it again, right? If we say that the failure is the one and done approach, we implemented and it didn't work and it's failed, we can't move forward because we haven't identified that failure and adjusted for it. So I like to leave with these three quotes, right? And they follow suit with left to right. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. That was Benjamin Franklin. Before anything else, preparation is the key to success. That was Alexander Graham Bell. And the only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. That was Henry Ford. So it kind of follows that same suit. Educate, plan and prepare, regroup, revise, and rinse and repeat.